The bank teller slipped me a note while my mother-in-law was in the restroom, and all it said was one word: run. I remember the exact way my fingers froze around that piece of paper, like my body understood something my mind hadn't caught up to yet. The air inside the bank felt too cold, too still, like the kind of silence that settles right before something breaks. Just seconds earlier, I had been standing there watching a counting machine swallow stacks of cash, one bundle after another, our entire life savings humming through plastic rollers. $1 million. 5 years of work. Every late night, every skipped vacation, every quiet sacrifice my husband and I made together, sitting right there on the counter under my name, under my trust, and then that note. Run. I looked up at the teller, a woman in her early 30s with sharp eyes and a face trained to stay neutral. But her gaze lingered on me just a second too long, and in that second, I saw it. Not fear for herself, fear for me. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Because women our age, we don't panic easily. We've seen enough life to know when something feels off, and everything about that moment felt wrong. Then I heard my mother-in-law's footsteps coming back down the hallway. Linda stepped back into view like nothing had happened, one hand pressed to her stomach, the other already reaching toward the counter. Her eyes didn't go to me first. They went straight to the money. Always the money. That was the first thing I noticed. Not concern, not confusion, just calculation. Honestly, that breakfast, she muttered, forcing a weak laugh as she leaned against the counter. Clara, are they done counting yet? I stood there, the note still folded tight in my palm, my pulse loud in my ears. The machine hummed. Bills flicked past in a blur. Megan had already turned back to her screen, fingers moving like none of this existed. But I knew it did. Almost, I said, my voice thinner than I wanted. I swallowed, forcing myself to breathe slower, deeper. Women like me don't survive this long by panicking. We watch. We listen. Linda straightened, smoothing her coat, her expression shifting back into that polished smile she used in public. Good. Because I'd like to finish this quickly. I have plans. Plans. The word hit harder than it should have. Her gaze flicked to me then, sharp, searching like she was checking if I'd stepped out of line while she was gone. I lowered my eyes just enough to look harmless. That's what they always expected from me. Quiet, agreeable, easy. They had no idea what I was thinking. The counting machine stopped, and in that sudden silence, I knew I had maybe seconds to decide. Stay and risk everything, or walk out and never look at this family the same way again. I pressed my hand to my stomach before I even realized I had decided. It wasn't graceful, it wasn't planned, it was instinct, pure survival. Oh God, I whispered, folding slightly, letting my breath hitch just enough to sound real. Linda, something's wrong. She didn't move right away. That's what I remember most. That pause, that split second where she looked at me like I was an inconvenience, not family. Her eyes flicked again to the cash stacked neatly on the counter, like she was weighing what mattered more. Now? She snapped under her breath. Seriously, Clara? I nodded, forcing my shoulders to tremble. My fingers tightened around the note until it crumpled in my palm. It's sharp, like something's tearing inside. I think it might be my appendix. That got her attention. Not concern, urgency, not for me, for the situation. She clicked her tongue, annoyed, shifting her weight. We're in the middle of something important. Can you just sit down for a minute? Let them finish. The word finish hit me like a warning bell. Sign, deposit, transfer. Gone. I straightened just enough to meet her eyes, and for the first time, I didn't soften myself for her comfort. No. I need a hospital. Right now. There was something in my voice that made her hesitate, and that hesitation gave me exactly what I needed. An opening. I grabbed my purse before she could say another word. Not slowly, not politely, fast. The chair scraped behind me, loud enough to turn a few heads. The security guard near the door looked up. A couple at the far desk paused mid-conversation. For a second, the whole room felt like it was watching. Linda reached out, her fingers catching my wrist just long enough to tighten. "Clara, don't make a scene." Her voice dropped low, controlled, sharp. I looked down at her hand, then back at her face, and something inside me went cold. Not scared, clear. "I'm not making a scene," I said quietly. "I'm going to the ER." I pulled free. She stood there for a beat, stunned, then snapped back into motion, heels clicking hard against the tile as she followed. "You can't just leave. We haven't signed anything yet." There it was. Signed. Not "we need to finish," not "are you okay?" Signed. I pushed through the glass doors, the blast of outside air hitting my face like a wake-up call. My lungs filled too fast, too sharp, like I'd been holding my breath without knowing it. A taxi was pulling up to the curb. I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand. "Hey!" Linda's voice cut through behind me, louder now. "Get back here!" I opened the door, slid inside, and locked it before she could reach me. "Where to?" the driver asked. I swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "Jefferson Avenue. South Side, please, just go." And as the car pulled away, I finally looked back. Linda stood on the sidewalk, her face no longer composed. It was furious, not worried, furious. The city blurred past the window, but I wasn't really seeing it. My hands were shaking in my lap, the crumpled note still pressed into my palm like it was burning through my skin. I forced my fingers open, slowly, like I was afraid of what I'd see again. "Run." Below it, in smaller writing, almost rushed, almost desperate. "This account is flagged." A phone number. I stared at it until the numbers stopped looking like numbers and started feeling like a warning I should have understood sooner. "Ma'am, you okay back there?" the driver asked, glancing at me in the rearview mirror. I nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just not feeling great." That part, at least, wasn't a lie, because something deep in my chest had shifted. Not panic. Not exactly. Recognition. All those little moments over the past year. Daniel being vague about money, Linda insisting on handling family finances, papers I signed without reading because I trusted him, trusted them. I swallowed hard and reached for my phone. My fingers hovered for a second, then I dialed the number. It rang once, twice, then a whisper on the other end, tight, urgent. "Clara, is that you?" My breath caught. "Megan, what is going on?" There was a pause. I could hear something in the background, a door closing. Silence. Then her voice dropped lower. "You need to listen to me very carefully. That money you brought in today, the moment it hits that account..." She hesitated. "It's gone." The words didn't land all at once. They hit in pieces. "Gone." "What do you mean, gone?" I asked, my voice barely steady, my eyes fixed on the passing streetlights like they could anchor me. Megan exhaled slowly on the other end. "Your mother-in-law came in yesterday. Same account, same paperwork. She set up a pre-authorized transfer." My stomach dropped. "To who?" I whispered. There was a pause. Then she said the name carefully, like it mattered. "Sophia Bennett." I didn't recognize it. Not at first. But something about the way she said it, like she expected me to. "The moment that deposit clears," Megan continued, "the system automatically wires the full amount to that account. It's already approved. No additional signatures needed." I closed my eyes. $1 million. 5 years of my life. Just disappearing. Why would she... I started, then stopped. Because the answer was already forming, ugly, clear. "Clara," Megan cut in softly, "I shouldn't even be telling you this, but something didn't feel right this morning. The way she spoke, the way she watched that money. I opened my eyes again, staring at my reflection in the window, pale, hollow. "She wasn't worried about you," Megan said. I swallowed hard. "I know," I whispered. And for the first time, I allowed myself to think the one thing I had been avoiding. This wasn't just her. Daniel knew. I hung up the phone and sat there in silence, the weight of it settling deep into my chest. The driver slowed at a red light. Outside, people moved like nothing had changed. Coffee in hand, conversations, normal life. Mine had just split in two, before this call and after. "You want me to pull up here?" he asked. I blinked, realizing we were already on Jefferson Avenue. My parents' house stood ahead, the same white siding, the same porch I'd grown up on, safe, familiar. "Yeah," I said quietly, "right there." The car stopped. I handed him cash, my fingers still unsteady. He gave me a quick look like he wanted to ask something, then thought better of it. "Take care of yourself, ma'am." I nodded, stepping out into the cool air. The front door opened before I even reached it. My mother stood there, her face tightening the second she saw me. "Clara? What happened?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat closed up, my chest too tight. I stepped inside, and then my phone started ringing. Daniel. Again and again. I looked down at his name flashing across the screen, my heart pounding harder with every vibration. 20 missed calls in less than half an hour, not worried, not confused, desperate. I stared at the screen for a long second, then turned it face down, because for the first time in 5 years, I wasn't afraid of him. I was afraid of what I was about to find out next. The knock came before I could catch my breath. Not polite, not hesitant, hard, sharp, like someone who believed the door should open the second they touched it. My father stood from the couch, his expression already tightening. "Stay here," he said quietly, moving toward the door, but I knew who it was. I didn't need to look. The door opened and Linda's voice cut through the house before anyone could speak. "Where is she?" Her heels hit the hardwood, fast and loud like she owned the place. Daniel followed right behind her, his jaw tight, his eyes already searching. And when they landed on me, there was no relief there, only anger. "What is this, Clara?" Daniel's voice came out strained like he was trying to hold it together and failing. "You just walk out like that? Leave my mom alone in the bank with that kind of money?" My mother stepped slightly in front of me without thinking, her hand brushing my arm. Protective, instinctive. Linda ignored her completely. She took 2 steps forward, her eyes locked on my purse. "Where is it?" she snapped. "Don't play games. Give it to me so we can finish what we started." Finish. That word again. I lifted my chin, slow, steady, even though my heart was pounding. "It's already taken care of," I said. Silence. For a split second, something flickered across Linda's face. Hope. Greed. Daniel stepped forward. "What does that mean?" I held his gaze. "It means," I said quietly, "the money isn't going anywhere. And this time, I was the one in control." Daniel's eyes narrowed, just slightly like he was trying to read past my words and get to whatever I wasn't saying. "Taken care of how?" he asked, his voice lower now, more controlled. That tone I knew too well, the one he used when he was calculating. Linda didn't wait. She stepped closer, too close, her perfume sharp in the air. "Did you sign the deposit?" she pressed. "Is it in my account?" There it was. Not ours, not the family's, mine. I let a small pause stretch between us, just enough to make them lean in. "I told you," I said, keeping my voice even. "It's handled." Linda's lips parted, and for a second I saw it again. That flash, that hunger. She reached into her purse, fumbling for her phone, her hands not as steady as she wanted them to be. "Daniel, check it," she said quickly. "There should be a notification." He pulled his phone out, his thumb moving fast across the screen. The room went quiet. My father stood still by the doorway. My mother didn't move from my side. Seconds passed. Then Daniel's expression shifted. Not relief, not satisfaction. Something darker. "There's nothing," he said, his voice tightening. "No deposit, no alert, nothing hit the account." Linda froze. Her head snapped toward me. And just like that, the mask dropped. Linda's voice came out sharp. "Then where is it?" No softness now, no pretending, just demand. I didn't answer right away. I let the silence sit there, heavy, uncomfortable, the way it had felt in that bank, the way it feels when the truth is close enough to touch, but no one wants to say it out loud. Daniel took a step closer. "Clara," he said, slower this time, like I was a problem he needed to solve. "Don't do this. We don't have time for games." Games. I almost laughed. 5 years of building something together. 5 years of trust. And now I was the one playing games? I looked at him. Really looked. The man I married. The man who used to hold my hand at night. Who used to tell me we were a team. Gone. In his place was someone else. Someone who cared more about where the money was than why I had walked out. "I didn't deposit it," I said finally. Linda sucked in a breath, sharp and loud. "What? I didn't sign anything. I didn't leave it there." Daniel's jaw tightened, his eyes darkened. "Then where is it?" he demanded again. I met his gaze, steady this time, no shaking, no hesitation. "Somewhere safe," I said. And for the first time, I saw fear flicker across his face. The room shifted the second I said it. Somewhere safe. Linda let out a short, disbelieving laugh, but there was no humor in it. "Safe?" she snapped. "From who? Your own family?" Family. That word used to mean something to me. Now it felt like a tool, a weapon they picked up whenever it suited them. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, pacing once, twice, like he was trying to keep control of a situation that had already slipped through his fingers. "Clara, listen to me," he said, softer now. "Too soft. Whatever this is, we can fix it. Just tell me where the money is. Fix it." Like this was a misunderstanding. Like I hadn't just learned they were about to erase me from my own life. I shook my head slowly. "No. You don't get to ask me that." Linda's face hardened. "Excuse me? You heard me," I said, my voice steady, even though my heart was pounding. "You don't get to demand anything from me anymore." The words hung in the air. My father stepped closer behind me, not loud, not aggressive, just present. And that changed the balance in the room. Daniel noticed it. His eyes flicked past me, measuring, calculating again. Then he looked back at me, and this time the mask cracked. "Do you have any idea what you're doing?" he said quietly. I met his gaze. "Yes," I said, "and that's exactly why you're scared." Daniel's lips parted, like he was about to say something sharp, something cutting, but nothing came out. For the first time since I'd known him, he didn't have the upper hand. Linda, though, she recovered fast. "Oh, please," she scoffed, waving her hand like I was being dramatic. "You're overthinking this. We were just trying to help you manage things. That's all." Help. I felt something in my chest tighten, then settle. "By moving $1 million into your name?" I asked quietly. She didn't blink. "It's for the family." "For the family," I repeated. My mother shifted beside me, her hand tightening on my arm, not stopping me, supporting me. Linda noticed that too. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Daniel stepped in again, his tone changing, softer, measured. "Clara, let's not do this here," he said. "You're upset. I get that. But walking out, hiding money, that's not how we solve problems. Not how we solve problems." I almost admired how easily he said it, like he believed it, like he hadn't already made a plan to take everything from me. I didn't hide anything, I said. I protected it. The room went still. Linda's expression flickered. Daniel's jaw tightened again, because they both heard the difference. And they both knew I wasn't the same woman who walked into that bank this morning. Linda let out a tight breath and crossed her arms, shifting her weight like she was bracing for a fight she didn't expect to have today. "You're being ungrateful," she said, her voice low and sharp, "after everything this family has done for you." There it was again, that quiet rewriting of history. Daniel didn't interrupt her this time. He just watched me, eyes narrowed, like he was waiting for me to fold, waiting for the version of me he knew to come back, the one who apologized, the one who made things easier. But she was gone. "I worked for that money," I said. My voice didn't rise. It didn't shake. Every late night, every order, every invoice I balanced while you were out networking and calling it work. Daniel flinched. Small, quick. "But I saw it. And I trusted you," I added, softer now. "That's the part you don't get to dismiss." The silence that followed felt different. Not tense, exposed. Linda's eyes flicked between us, her confidence slipping just enough to notice. "This is ridiculous," she muttered, grabbing her purse. "We're not standing here being accused in someone else's house." But she didn't move right away. Neither did Daniel. Because for the first time, the truth was sitting in the room with us, and no one knew how to pretend it wasn't there anymore. I took a slow breath. This wasn't over, not even close. Daniel finally looked away first. It was small, just a shift of his eyes toward the floor, but it said everything. The man who always needed control didn't have it anymore. Linda grabbed his arm. "We're leaving," she said, tight and cold, like she was already rewriting this moment in her head. "We'll deal with this later. Later." That word used to scare me. Now it didn't mean anything. They walked out without another word. No apology. No concern. Just anger carried out the door like luggage they refused to drop. The sound of the door closing behind them echoed through the house, sharp, final. I stood there for a second, not moving. My mother's hand was still on my arm, warm, steady. My father exhaled slowly near the doorway like he had been holding his breath the entire time. And me, I felt something lift. Not everything. Not the pain. Not the betrayal. But the fear. For the first time in years, I wasn't trying to keep peace. I wasn't shrinking myself to fit into someone else's version of family. I chose myself, and that changed everything. If this story made you feel something, stay with me. Hit like, subscribe, and comment 3 words that describe how you would have handled that moment.